What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what just came out associated to the company itself and what might be coming next. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with that, let's get right to it. So at the time of doing this video, it is up 0.22%, which given what just came out, I do feel that is rather low. Aside from that, throughout the whole day, it's been really sensed. So you can kind of get that sense. It did have a nice breakout or attempted breakout. So 705 has been the high, but shorts really put a stop to that very fast. So again, suppression. Like I said in my video yesterday, this whole week is going to be the battle of the $7 range. So definitely stay tuned for that. Aside from all that fun jazz, 18.6 million shares have been traded so far, 44.6 is the average. Based on the volume, majority of the transactions being done today are actually linked to institutions buying rather than algorithmic trading. But then again, that's been the case for the last several weeks. So of course, a fairly good thing. And these are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So you do see a big one first thing, so 2.31 million. And then on the flip side, you also do have a lot of transactions on the dark pool. So this is where shorts are hiding a lot of their transactions. One big one first thing as well, so 1.76 million for that one transaction. So today there has been no news whatsoever, no rumors, nothing like that. SEC filings, there was a Form 4 that just came out at 6:12 this morning, and that did indicate that good old Anthony NOTO did buy on May the 24th 28,860 shares at a price of $6.92. It was transaction code P right here, so that is using his own physical money, so it wasn't awarded or anything like that. So he threw another $200,000 at the stock itself, so pretty epic stuff, and he really likes to do that. And in the past, I have stated that maybe he's trying to change the sentiment and boost morale somewhat, but now that I think of it, maybe it is just that he sees it at a pretty good price, because if you look back at the past transactions, he tends to do that around these prices. Back in May of 2023, it was very, very low, so he did buy some shares on the 15th and also the 5th at 503 and 467, and so he's done a lot of buying. You can kind of even see in November on the 9th and also the 21st, he did buy roughly at $6.78 and also $6.50. So he definitely does like to put his money where his mouth is, because you can see each transaction is like almost 300,000, 150,000, and then most recently looks like a lot of duplication, but the 24th, 23rd, and also the 3rd, like 200,000 almost a piece each transaction. So I don't think it gets better than Anthony buying every single time. Just a lot of people are clearly discouraged, like I've said in the past, just because of the constant manipulation. And even right now, speaking of manipulation, shorts are increasing 2.31 million shares. As I said in my pre-market video, definitely you needed to watch what shorts are going to be doing today, as well as the rest of the week, as they try to suppress it below that $7 mark. But 17.21% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 178.75 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 0.98%, so even in general that has gone down a lot. So just brokers out there as a whole are kind of reducing their numbers, and that's just more of a supply and demand model, right? So there's more shares being available, so that does mean that some larger institutions have been buying, aka probably BlackRock and Vanguard, just for the purposes of lending out shares. So that's something just to be aware of, but utilization is 71.29%. So giving you a quick overview of some options data and everything else, 2.84 million in calls versus 693,000 in puts. Sentiment wise, very evenly divided today, so a lot of shorts are clearly hedging their bets and probably buying call options, $7 strike price. So kind of is a very, how do I put this? It's kind of like a vicious cycle. So shorts constantly suppress SoFi. What they do is they buy calls, $7 strike price, because that's usually where SoFi likes to settle around, or $7.50. Obviously you guys get what I'm saying, but they do hedge just in case SoFi does go up. But on the flip side, then market makers try to keep it below those strike prices to ensure that they don't have to go in the open market and really cover that. So it's kind of a very, very vicious cycle that SoFi is in. And in reality, the only thing that can get it out of this damn cycle is institutions just not giving two fucks, pardon my French, and just literally buying the hell out of SoFi, causing a very big disruption. So they can't be linked to shorting, they can't be linked to market makers. They do have to be individuals like Cathie Wood. Even though I'm not a fan of her, she's not really linked to obviously market makers or whatever else. So you need that type of individual to actually just buy and not lend out their shares, such as BlackRock or Vanguard. So something to kind of consider, as I've said in the past. But right now, with looking at the options activity, so this is all the open interest, you are starting to see that nice bump up. Well, I wouldn't say nice, but you are starting to see that bump up at the $7 strike price. So 18,000 at the 7, 22,000 at the 750, and then 17,000 at the 8. As I said, the first trading day is usually a bump up of like 30 to 40%. So that is definitely happening as we speak. So it's kind of a very, very vicious cycle. And like I said, the only thing to really push it higher is just institutions physically buying, but they cannot be linked to shorting nor market makers. So it's very, SoFi is in a very interesting predicament. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi in the comments below. Give yourself a shout out if you have been buying, if you've been selling. What have you been doing with SoFi? On the actual chart itself, it is lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. You do see stochastic is considered very oversold. So if there's a good piece of news that does come out, you should see a rush of value investors. This is why I do see this as kind of weird, because normally in the past, him buying, or Anthony buying, has really prompted maybe like a 2.5 to 3% green day at least. So the fact that it's kind of flirting with being negative or very, very minorly green, I see that as just not really justified. Number of retail investors are starting to get back in, and you can tell that based on the momentum indicator. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Give yourself a shout out if you've been buying, if you've been selling. What have you been doing with SoFi? And with all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.